Heya, today I thought I'd share some Reddit stories from the Am I the Asshole subreddit while I build a cozy cafe in The Sims 4 where the tea can not only be spilt but also enjoyed. Let's get into it. So under my last video someone asked for more drama and hopefully this first story delivers on just that. Am I the asshole for asking my brother not to bring a cam girl as his +1 to my wedding? I, female 29, am getting married in April. The wedding is a bit short notice as my fiance only proposed in December, but we chose April as we got a really good price for our dream wedding venue. We are offering +1s for our single guests. My brother Fran, M27, is single and took us up on the +1 offer. He wants to bring a girl, Danny, F26. Danny is a cam girl and Fran is a client of hers. Fran sometimes pays her to meet up in person and go on dates, and my wedding would be one of those times. I only know about the nature of the relationship because Fran started this while living with our parents and they eventually found out. I've only met Danny a few times, once when Fran brought her to our aunt's potluck baby shower. I feel like Danny's behaviour during that event was really inappropriate. They turned up 2 hours late, by then most of the food was gone, with no dish, and Danny kept loudly complaining she was hungry the whole event. She took a load of the unused paper plates and straws and stuffed them into her purse without asking if she could take them. She also made really rude comments towards my aunt about her pregnant belly and how big she is and how she should get liposuction after the baby. She managed to constantly make herself the center of attention by just generally being loud and unpleasant. This really upset our aunt. She vented to my mum, who wasn't at the baby shower because she was sick, about it, and when my mum confronted Fran, he had a meltdown and it was never brought up again. I just find everything about her behavior really tacky. This, plus the fact she's not even Fran's girlfriend or friend but his sex worker, makes me really not want her at the wedding. At first I phrased it in a non-confrontational way and asked if there's anyone else he'd like to bring, like one of his friends. Fran said no and got really defensive and asked me why I'd ask him that. He then accused me of hating Danny for no reason. I told him he's welcome to bring someone else as his +1, but he is not to bring Danny to the wedding because I've just not liked what I've seen with her behavior at the last family event she was at. He said I'm being judgmental and that Danny is a nice person. I asked Fran to please not make this a big deal and just bring one of his friends and have a nice time with the family. Fran started yelling at me. He called me a stupid bitch and said I've already offered him a +1, so he's bringing Danny and I can't stop him, and that I'm being a terrible sister. I feel like I'm going crazy because I don't think I'm being massively unreasonable, but this is the biggest fight I've ever had with Fran, so am I the asshole? So I for one definitely do not think you are the asshole. I think that your brother and Danny are massive assholes. I mean, Danny isn't even Fran's girlfriend or friend or anything, and like I don't really personally see the issue of bringing a sex worker as like your +1. Whoever it is that you're bringing, you should have some like decorum about it, like have manners and stuff, and it seems like there's just nothing like respectful towards the like girl getting married here. So it's just I don't think this is I don't think the person getting married is being an asshole. I think that her brother most definitely is, and yeah, this is not great, but hopefully this was dramatic enough for the person who asked for that. Someone here commented something that I definitely agree with. Not the asshole, he called you a stupid bitch. You may not be able to disinvite him due to family pressure, or maybe you don't want to because he's your brother, but you can absolutely take away his +1. That's what I'd do. He forfeited it due to his behavior. 100% agree. I mean, you can't just show up to a wedding and having called like the people getting married like a stupid bitch. Like, that's your sister. Like, what is wrong with this guy? Okay, no. So I will admit I'm not a parent and I might be missing some perspective here, but let's see if this next person crossed a line. Am I the asshole for taking my baby from my parents? I, 26 female, have a 4-month-old baby. He was born prematurely and had a lot of feeding issues, so I exclusively pump breast milk for him and we bottle feed him. This is great because anyone can feed him, but inconvenient for me since I have to pump 6 times a day even in the middle of the night. Once my baby was eating well from the bottle and sleeping 3+ hours at a time, my dad invited us to come stay with him and my mum every so often to catch up on some uninterrupted sleep. We happily obliged, and since then, Thursday nights are spent at their home. My dad has historically done amazing with my nieces and nephews, so I wholeheartedly trusted him with my baby overnight, and his house already had the facilities to keep a baby. Safe sleep space, bottle warmer, changing table, etc. My mum on the other hand has historically been a bit neglectful to my nieces and nephews, so we have kind of universally agreed that my mum is not to watch any of our kids alone. I did give her the benefit of the doubt and trusted her to feed the baby and change him, nothing more. Well, 3 weeks ago I come downstairs from a shower and my mum is feeding him a bottle that looked suspicious. I asked her if it was old and she said no. The bottle was hot to the touch. I took a pic of it and showed my sister, who said that it was very clearly a bottle of microwaved breast milk. I got upset but kindly explained to my mum why she shouldn't microwave breast milk, which is because it can cause fat separation, nutrient loss, and burn the baby's mouth severely. She said she understood and we kind of forgot about it. A week later I go to wash baby dishes and next to where she normally sits I find another microwaved bottle. I told her her more firmly that if I saw it again, I would take the baby and leave. Lo and behold, Friday morning, I hobbled into the kitchen to get pump supplies, and when I noticed my son wasn't in the crib or with my dad, I got nervous. I went to my mum and found yet another microwaved bottle. I thought I was crazy, so I took it upstairs to my husband, who agreed it was nuked, and started packing. We went downstairs together and I explained to my parents that we were leaving. My mother vehemently denied microwaving the milk, and my dad said he had prepared that bottle himself. I knew someone was lying because my eyes don't lie. I took the baby from my mum and she went into one of her narcissistic rants about how I guess I'm just a piece of shit. So I told my dad it has nothing to do with him and I love him, and we left. Jesus, it's like, there's so many people are just like so self-obsessed, and it just, is it so hard to not microwave a bottle? Just, I don't get it. Like, what is wrong with you? You don't have to do this. No one's asking you to do it. I'm pretty sure like the mum was trusted with feeding the baby and changing him, sure, but like, I don't know, but I think it's been made clear that what like the mother of the child doesn't want to happen, and why, and like, why is her mum being such a, like, my dad is extremely upset because he loves this baby. It's his first biological grandchild and they already have a very special bond, but I had to stick to my word. My mum later admitted to my dad she did indeed reheat the milk in the microwave, and she has since refused to speak to me or take accountability and apologize, but she can call my sister crashing out and saying I'm so mean and robbing her of her grandson. Sigh. Your mum is definitely the issue here. Just, I do feel bad for the granddad because I don't think there's really well, the problem with the granddad is like he's sticking with the mom. That's the issue with the granddad. So anyways, am I the asshole here? No, definitely not. The OP, the mum of the child, is not the asshole. Update: my father heated the bottle, my baby did not finish it, and my mother put it in the microwave for her to feed him the rest. My dad was completely unaware that she did that, so he is absolutely not the problem here. I've always questioned why he stays with my mum, and I think it's because they've just been together so long he doesn't know being alone would be better for him. That is literally what I was just talking about, that like he would be better off alone without someone like the grandmother, but some people just decide to stay even though it would be much better for everyone if they did not. He has never actually defended my mum, and they don't even sleep on the same floor of their house or sit in the same room together. It baffles me, but I will not be bringing baby around if my mum is around, even if it hurts his feelings. As you should. If he doesn't want his feelings to be hurt, he should leave the mum. He can find a way to meet us or hitch a ride down this way, alone if he wants baby time. Yep, 100%. I agree with OP here, definitely. Updates 2. My sister, who my mum called, didn't defend her. All three of my siblings and myself have our feelings about my mum, and we have all made the same mistakes with her and our kids. At the end of the day, even though she's a narcissist and a screw up, she's still our mum, and we all want her to have a relationship with her grandchildren. See, that is something I strongly disagree with. Like, if she's such a, like, why are you letting her repeat her mistake? Like, I understand the like second sibling, all three of my, I understand the like first sibling making the mistake and then the second one following, but like all like four of you making the exact same mistakes with her and your kids, like, what is, like, I'm sorry, but why? Like, it's clear she's not changing, it's clear she's a narcissist. You call her a narcissist and a screw up, like, you're aware of her nature, so what if she's your mom? Like, no, if she's such a mess, she should not have a relationship with your kids. A heated bottle might not seem like a lot, but you said it yourself that like nuking a bottle can like burn the child's mouth, and I'm sure like a baby doesn't have as strong like senses and everything as like a child or even a full grown adult, and if she makes small mistakes, like what other things will she do that can hurt the children? I mean, this isn't my child and I'm not a parent, but if I were a parent, I would not be letting a narcissistic screw up be around my kids. Yeah, but now for all of us except the 1-week-old baby my other sister has, it happens at arm's length. It is partly my fault for thinking maybe the 6th grandchild would change something, but you know what they say about hindsight. I don't think this is hindsight. 6 times? You people let her make the same mistakes 6 times? You know what she's like. You know what her nature is. It's clearly not changing. What, the 10th will bring some kind of change? Come on. I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't think you're an asshole for taking a child, but I do think you need to work on something. I don't think someone like that should have a relationship with a baby if they can't be even trusted to do something simple. But again, I'm not a parent, so what do I know? And this next story is also about a parent, but from the perspective of a friend of one, and it does raise some interesting questions about expectations. So let's see what that is all about. Am I the asshole for skipping my friend's daughter's first birthday and charging her for the gift after she forgot to tell me the time change? I'm feeling pretty heated right now and need some perspective. My friend's daughter is turning 1 today. A few weeks ago, my friend asked if I could make truffles for the party. I agreed, and she mentioned she would reimburse me for the ingredients. However, because truffles are expensive to make and incredibly labor intensive, I decided I would just gift them as the birthday present instead of asking for money. I spent all day yesterday in the kitchen making these. I had to wake up super early this morning to finish the final touches and get ready for the 9 AM start time listed on the invitation. I showed up at 9 AM sharp, truffles in hand, and the place was empty. I double checked the invite and it definitely said 9 AM. I called my friend and she casually told me that the time has changed to the afternoon. She admitted she forgot to tell me and apparently I was the only guest who wasn't notified. After working so hard yesterday and sacrificing my Saturday morning sleep, I was, and still am, pissed. I haven't told her if I can make it in the afternoon yet. Would I be the asshole if I charge her the full amount for the ingredients and my time since I might no longer be attending and these were meant to be the gift, or refuse to go to the afternoon session because I've already wasted my morning and now I have other plans, which is mostly just being too annoyed to celebrate? I mean, I feel like I definitely understand why you'd be pissed, but I also think that like this could have just been an honest mistake. You were the only person, you know, sometimes people make mistakes, especially this is the mother of I think a mother, doesn't really say, but I'm just gonna assume the mum of like a 1-year-old. I'm sure like being a parent of a baby isn't easy, and you know, just sometimes maybe you forget and things happen, and I just, you know, forgive and forget. I don't really think she did anything terrible. Like I get why you'd be upset, but just, you know, things happen, move on. Yeah, so I do think you would be the asshole if you charged the full amount for the ingredients, especially since you said it was going to be a birthday present. Like even if you don't attend, this is your friend's daughter's first birthday, I feel like you should get her a gift. The time you spent making those truffles was something you hopefully enjoyed for your own sake. I do think you'd be the asshole if you just charged her the full amount. I don't think you'd be the asshole if you refused to go to the afternoon session, but I do think you'd be an asshole if you were being an asshole to her. So yeah. Edit. I did not tell her I would gift her the truffles. I had just decided that myself. Okay. Edit. A lot of people are asking for more context, so here it goes. We moved to a new city last year, so I've been trying hard to make new friends, and I've been hanging out with this friend and some of her friends, but I'm not in the little group yet. I'm a very helpful person in general and have a lot of party planning experience, so I actually helped her decide many aspects of the party, like how much food, what types of food, how many drinks, etc. We were exchanging info back and forth about this party constantly, and I even lent her a bunch of my own decor stuff to use for the cake table. Also, she specifically chose 9 AM because that's when her daughter is most alert and happiest, so this was supposed to be a brunch type birthday party. Given how much we talked about the details and the fact that she has my decor, I really don't feel like this was an easy thing to forget. I feel like that just makes it even more easy to forget. Like she probably just thought she'd already told you. If you're constantly talking about it, I sincerely doubt this was like you're not giving much context for why she'd be pissed, like upset with you or anything like that. You're not saying like this is a pattern or like other times she's done this or that, anything like that. Like it just very well might have been a one-off kind of situation. Update. Wow, I did not expect this to blow up. First of all, I don't think it's fair for some people to say I'm self-obsessed or that it's clear but I'm not included in the group. I agree, I feel like that's very rude, and I don't think you're self-obsessed or like none of this makes anything clear. Like I just think people are being rude for whatever reason. Clearly those people have never been in a position where they had to move cities and make new friends after a certain age. It is not easy. 100% agreed. Even as someone who hasn't, I mean, I have moved around a lot, but now I live in a small town and it is not easy making friends. I wrote that first post while I was literally leaving the empty venue and heading home, so everything was fresh and I just needed to process externally and see what others would do. I think that's pretty normal when you're frustrated. After taking a nap and reading through the comments, I decided to be an adult about it. I went to the birthday party in the afternoon, brought the truffles and told her they were a gift. I do think she just had a mum brain moment and genuinely forgot to tell me, but because I'm new here and have been struggling with feeling excluded, it hit me harder in the moment. Thank you everyone for your answers and for helping me to see things more clearly. I'm not going to hold this over her head, but I am going to keep it in mind. If it happens again or becomes a pattern, I'll know this isn't the right friendship for me. Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. And I do hope that it doesn't happen again or become a pattern or anything like that, because yeah, it is hard making friends, and I hope for your sake, I really do hope that things turn out alright and good and that you become a part of the group. I don't know why so many of these stories are about parents or families. For the next video, I'll try and find things that are a little bit different, stuff that isn't so familial. But yeah, in my last video, I read a story about parents-in-law who might have been overstepping a bit but weren't really malicious. And now I have a story about a parent who unfortunately is going to end up seeming or coming across or being quite malicious. Am I the asshole for no longer helping after my mum said I'm useless? Hi Reddit, I, female 20, live at home with my single mother and 5 siblings while I finish university. I'll call them A, male 23, B, male 22, C, male 17, D, female 15, and E, male 12. Almost every day I wash the dishes, load and unload the dishwasher, vacuum the common areas, drive my younger siblings to and back from school, and cook dinner while also attending university. That is a lot for a 20-year-old. I get no help from my mum or siblings, nor do I get any appreciation for what I do around the house. That's very sad. It's rough having to do all of that. I 100% don't get it. Last week on Wednesday, I came home late around 9 PM from uni as I was talking to my teacher about the lecture. My class ended at 7:30 PM. Once I got home, my mum started yelling at me because I wasn't able to cook dinner. There were dirty dishes in the sink and my brother A had to pick up my younger siblings from school. I was upset by this, but she then told me, "You're useless. You don't help out at all." And I got pissed. I replied back, "Sorry for being useless," and went to my room. The following day, I didn't drop my siblings off to school, which forced my mum to have to do it. I didn't make dinner either, and I stayed at uni up until they closed the library at 9 PM. I continued to do this, and the house is now a mess, and my younger siblings have missed a few days of school. My mum and my other siblings are angry at me. I'm so sorry. Your mum clearly isn't doing shit. Doesn't appreciate you at all for anything you do. You're 100% doing the right thing. One day, something like you just didn't do a few things. She got pissed off at you, called you useless, and saying that you don't do anything. Well, now they're all getting to see just exactly how much you definitely don't do. I'm just wondering, am I the asshole? I feel like I'm not, but hearing it from my siblings and mum every day is getting to me. Absolutely no, you're not the asshole. I feel like you're doing the exactly the right thing. If they don't appreciate you, you shouldn't do shit. Like, yeah. Edit. I had to leave some stuff out due to character limits. Apologies for weird formatting on mobile. My family is from a foreign background, so my mum's beliefs are very old-fashioned. Old-fashioned that like one person is meant to do literally everything. Like I don't think that's old-fashioned. I think that's just like messed up. I live in Australia and in a location close to the city, so houses are quite expensive here. Rent is due fortnightly, so I wouldn't be able to afford moving out. I don't have a job, but due to a small allowance I get from the government for studies, I contribute $150 a week towards household expenses. I didn't include every single chore I do, but laundry is one chore everyone does themselves because they all wash their own clothes. Female 15 helps male 12 out with his. I wipe down counters and clean the kitchen after cooking dinner. I clean the bathroom sporadically. My brothers literally pee on the floor and don't wipe. Your brothers literally pee on the floor and don't wipe it up. Literally, even the youngest one of them is 12. That is old enough to be able to wipe, like to pee in the right spot. Like, what the? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to this person. I encourage my little siblings to clean their room, but ultimately I end up tidying it. My older brothers are both employed, but don't help around the house at all. They play video games when they're not working. My mother does not help me with my school fees. I've taken out student loans to pay for it. This person's life is just rough. I really do feel bad for them. I do kind of wonder where the dad is in all of this. Like, I get that the mum is single, a single mother, but where's the dad at? So there is an update to the story, because the first part was posted about like 2 years ago. This update was given a month ago. Hi again, Reddit. I posted about 2 years ago and wanted to update you all. Thank you to everyone who commented on my original post. The kindness and viewpoints from strangers on the internet helps me more than I ever expected. After I stopped helping out with the house, I reached out to my university's student support services for advice. They helped me get a part-time job at the student help desk, which gave me a bit of financial breathing room. Around the same time, I broke up with my boyfriend. Meanwhile, my older siblings, now 25 and 24, continued to do literally nothing to help. I went back to driving my younger siblings, now 17 female and 14 male, to school, not because I gave in, but because I genuinely care about their futures. The breaking point came when my mum tried to get my aunt, her younger sister, involved by painting me as a disrespectful daughter. I didn't know how my aunt would react since they've always been close, but I ended up telling my aunt the truth. To my surprise, she was horrified. She opened up about how she and my mum were treated pretty much the exact same way by my grandparents, and when they moved to Australia together, they talked about not raising their kids that way. My aunt offered to take me and my two younger siblings in as she has no kids. Now I live with my aunt. It's an hour drive to uni, but the peace is worth it. One of the best things I've done for myself is start therapy. It's expensive, so I can only afford a session once a month, but it's already doing wonders. As for my little siblings, they're doing better. They keep their rooms tidy, they help with cooking, and they're both incredibly respectful to our aunt. My brother isn't relying on my sister anymore, and my sister is finally starting to stand up for herself. I've been reminding her not to let anyone, especially our mum, push her around the way I was. My siblings moved schools to one that's within walking distance, and they haven't missed any days. Recently, my brother, then 17 now 19, reached out to me and apologized for everything. He said he knew it was wrong how I was being treated, but at the time it didn't affect him, so he didn't think about it too much. He's definitely an asshole. If someone like there's a lot of assholes in this story. Definitely the two eldest brothers who are doing literally nothing. The mum who is just completely doing nothing and not appreciating the daughters at all, and this kid. But at least it seems like this is the only asshole who kind of had a little redemption arc and realized and like apologized and stuff. Which I mean, that is definitely good. Good for him. Good on him. We had a proper conversation over the phone and things seemed to be okay between us. He told me he was planning on moving out to live with a friend since a mother had started lashing out at him and forcing him to do the house chores I used to do. As for me, I graduated uni. My aunt and younger siblings came to my ceremony. I didn't bother messaging my mum to let her know. I've already been accepted into a graduate RN, I think that's like registered registered nurse or something like that program at the hospital where I did my last placement. I'm super excited to start and finally get my life on track. For once, I feel like my life is actually moving in a direction I chose. I'm just happy that things like worked out in the end, kinda, for her. And yeah, I really do hope that her future is bright for her, that like things continue to look good, that the RN program goes well, and that she gets to be and do whatever it is that she'd like to be and do with her life. Taking a step away from family issues, this next story is about a friend whose advice, like whilst good, may not have come across quite as they had intended for it to come across as. Am I the asshole for giving my friend a much needed reality check? My mate and I are both in our mid-30s. We've known each other for over 20 years and realistically, we've been each other's main support system for most of that time. He's the only person I speak to regularly and I'm the same for him. Let's call him Dave. I recently moved to another city for work, so we don't get to hang out in person anymore. We still call every few days, and despite everything, I genuinely love the guy like a brother. I don't see us ever not being in each other's lives. I could go on and on about his best qualities, but respectfully, Dave has all my worst traits, but like turned up to 100. I struggle with depression and social anxiety too, but I've been putting in the effort to turn things around. I've been exercising, getting outside, forcing myself into small social situations, and trying to look after myself even on the rough days. Dave, on the other hand, has been going the exact opposite direction. He barely leaves the house anymore, his hygiene has dropped off dramatically, he doesn't try to take care of himself physically or emotionally, and whenever I gently encourage him, he brushes it off or gives me the "what's the point" line. I'm not a therapist and I've told him that. I can support him, but I can't fix him. The recurring issue is this: Dave has never been romantic with anyone, which isn't a problem on its own. I've had my own struggles in that area and being single is not a character flaw, but the problem is that every few weeks he spirals into a rant about how unfair life is, how no girl will ever want someone like him, and how the universe has personally decided he doesn't get love. Last week, during a call, I snapped. Not yelling, just brutal honesty. I told him, you never leave the house, you don't shower, you don't groom yourself, and you spend all day doom scrolling and feeling sorry for yourself. You can't expect someone to magically appear when you're doing literally nothing to make yourself feel better or put yourself out there. Even if it's not guaranteed, you're making the odds worse. Honestly, you're starting to think like an incel. He absolutely lost it. He called me unsupportive, rude, even a traitor. Then, he said some genuinely nasty things about my ex-fiance leaving me. It was stuff that came out of nowhere and cut pretty deep. I hang up. He's tried calling me a few times since, but I haven't picked up because I'm still heated and honestly a bit hurt. I'm sure we will eventually talk things out, but I'm very nervous about our next conversation too. So, am I the asshole for finally giving him the reality check he's refused to hear for years? No. No, my answer is no, I don't think you're the asshole. I feel like, you know, it's tough being in that position where you constantly have to hear like someone's issues, someone's problems, and have them literally do nothing to improve their life, especially when you yourself have also been going through a rough patch, but you are trying to do something to help yourself, to be better, to get out of that. That person is definitely like pulling you down, and I don't think you were an asshole for snapping and like telling him your truth and everything. And like, at least from what you recall having said, I don't think any of that is even like really like rude or mean or anything. So I definitely don't think you're an asshole, and I'm sorry that he was an asshole to you in response to what you had said. There is an update to that story. So since my original post, Dave and I finally had a proper conversation. I gave him a call the day after posting. He told me that what I said genuinely hurt him, but he also admitted that deep down, he knew I was right. He ended up breaking down and opening up in a way he never has before. He said that this isn't the life he pictured for himself, that he feels like he's letting his family down, and that he worries it's too late to turn things around. I'm not 30, not there yet, but I definitely do get feeling like it's too late to turn things around. But like, the truth is, it's never too late. Even if you're like 70, I mean, like, obviously you've had most of your life like has passed, but like, you can still do things, you can still turn things around, you can still change, you can still 20s, 30s, I don't think, even 40s, maybe even 50s, like, it's not late. You still have time, you can still do things, you can still make things better. Plenty of people didn't find out what they wanted to do, who they are, all of these things until later in life, and they still turned out successful. So basically the point is, it's never too late, and you just have to do, you don't even have to believe in yourself, you just have to do stuff. As long as you're doing stuff, I feel like that's the thing. Just do it, just do stuff. It's not too late. For context, I didn't include earlier, Dave comes from a very strict Asian household. He was expected to become a high-earning professional, and while his two younger siblings have gone on to build successful careers and start families, Dave burnt out in uni. He told me that watching his siblings thrive while he struggled has crushed his self-esteem over the years. He also revealed that his dad refuses to speak to him now. That's very sad. I definitely do feel bad for Dave, coming from a household that's very strict, very high expectations expectation, your siblings surpassing you in like all of these different ways. And like now your parents refusing to speak to you because you haven't lived up to their expectation. That's very rough. At least Dave has the guy who's writing all of this like to share some of his like issues with, and like I hope the future's better for him, because that is very sad. This is something I had no idea about until this conversation. He said he did understand that I was coming from a place of love, but I apologized for the way my bluntness came across. He also apologized for the comment he made about my ex-fiance, which really did cross a line, and we cleared the air there. I tried reassuring him that he's always been an incredible friend and a genuinely good person. I reminded him that his siblings used to look up to him and still come to him for advice sometimes, which says a lot about who he is beyond his struggles. I told him I'd support him however I reasonably can, but that real change has to come from him. And to his credit, he started taking some small steps. He promised to get back into basic self-care, look into therapy, and try easing himself into a routine again. I'm very happy that even the basic small step is a huge step for someone who hasn't been taking care of themselves. So it's great that he started doing all of these things. He even went out, got his long greasy hair cut, shaved, and honestly, he looks like a different person already. That alone seemed to lift his spirits a bit. Going forward, I'm planning to approach things with more empathy and patience. Life has genuinely hit Dave hard, and I want to help him climb out of this rough spot at a pace that's realistic for him. I know what it's like to feel trapped in a dark place, and I'm hoping that with enough time and support, he'll eventually find his way out. We're meeting up back in our hometown next week, and we're going to be watching some of our favorite movies at his place. The ending is very sweet. I really do wish the best for both of these two guys. They can help each other, and especially, just move forward, just build a better future, and be happy, and Okay, well, these next two stories are about family issues, kinda. Again, especially this next one is about family issues, and hopefully the mum doesn't turn out to be awful again, like the one in not the last story, but the one before did. A lot of bad parenting going on, I guess, kinda, I think. But, am I the asshole for not wanting to share a room on a family holiday, causing my mother to back out last minute? I'll try to keep this short, but it needs a backstory. I, 34 female, live away from my home country, while my parents and older brother, 36, all live in my home country in the same city. I come back to my home country every few or so years to visit. I've been away 12. My parents are happily divorced and with long-term partners. They are amicable. My brother and I are both single and childless. For this year's trip back home, we have decided on a 7-day family cruise. Myself, my brother, my mum and her boyfriend, my dad and his girlfriend. It's the first holiday we have done all together as a mixed family, which is why we booked a cruise. We all have rather different interests, so it seemed fitting we can all do separate daytime activities and meet in the evening for dinner. Not to mention less time forced to spend together and less chance of small disputes. We booked 4 rooms, one for mum and her boyfriend, one for dad and his girlfriend, one for brother and one for me. My dear mother made a mistake on the booking and my brother is now without a room. His booking was not processed and we have 5 days before we disembark. There is a little chance of him getting a last minute booking. My mother calls in a panic and asks me to share my room with my brother. Something important to note, my brother and I don't get along at the best of times. He spent the last decade as a very successful drug addict. I like how that's phrased. And the last 2 trips I had back home, he was either verbally abusive due to drug use or completely and utterly on another planet. So you probably don't want to share your room with him. I can no longer trust him to be on normal behavior, so to speak. So I do not want to share a room with him, regardless of whether he is clean or not, which is definitely fair. I would not want to share a room with my sibling if they were a very successful drug addict who's verbally abusive or completely and utterly on another planet. I don't think that's safe or comfortable or anything like that. Sadly, his personality has permanently changed for the worse after so long of abusing drugs. I don't think that's true, that it's permanently changed. I just think that he needs to work on it a lot, but obviously I don't know them, so what do I know? The next option, share a room with my mother. This is something I also don't want to do. Whilst we get along, I know 7 days in a room with my mother will inevitably result in an argument. There is a lot of unresolved history about her defending my brother's behavior when he was on drugs. From my point of view, whoever I share a room with will lead to a family holiday of moods and conflict. As much as I want to be easygoing, I'm being realistic with what would most likely happen. Onto the am I an asshole? I turned down both room sharing ideas, meaning my brother will not be able to come. My mother has now said she will not come either, and her boyfriend will follow suit. I feel largely guilt-tripped by this whole situation and very bothered by my brother once again taking precedent. This is the first time I have been back to my hometown since 2023, and my mother is threatening to back out of the trip unless I suck it up and share a room. Should I just suck it up and share, or forever be blamed for ruining a family holiday? I personally think you should just do whatever you want. If you would feel comfortable with being blamed, then let that happen. I mean, if I was in your situation, I would just take the blame, to be honest, because I don't know, I mean, if they can back out, could you not all all just back out and rebook for another time. I get that it's not often that you're back, but like maybe things could be changed. I don't know, but I mean, obviously you're definitely not the asshole. I'm sorry that your mum takes your brother, that your brother's more important to your mum than you are. That's rough. I partially I think it's a good point, but someone commented, if your brother is not booked, he can't get on the boat regardless of who shares what. They are pretty strict about these things. If you book a room, you don't get to bring along just anyone you like. I would go on the cruise. If your mother wants to waste the room, that's on her. Have fun with your father instead. Yeah, just have fun with your dad. Like, it doesn't seem like your dad's causing any trouble or anything, so just go and have a nice trip with your dad and his girlfriend. Just enjoy the time as the three of you. I'm sure that would be nice just in and of itself, to be honest. This final story goes out to all my immigrant siblings and the partners who might just not be doing quite enough. Am I the asshole for making a scene when my friend's friend was making fun of my wife? For some context, my wife is from Sweden, but her mother, who still lives in Sweden, is Ukrainian, and my wife got a lot of her traits, so she does look very Slavic. And to be fair, it is something that stands out in the part of the US we live in. She is also not eligible to be a naturalized citizen in the US for a couple of years, as she hasn't been in the US long enough, and we have only been married for 10 months. But yesterday, I went out to dinner and drinks with some of my friends, and one of my close friends brought his longtime friend who was visiting and who I've known for a while. I have never particularly liked this person, but he's kind of a friend by proxy since he's close with one of my close friends. I wish this person would give people names, because friend of a friend of a friend of a friend is a bit hard to keep track of, but hopefully we figure out who's who. And I just see him a few times a year at most. He's the type that has a tendency to really push the envelope on making jokes and will often go over the line, so I already don't particularly like him. During dinner, he immediately starts asking about my Russian wife or wherever she's from, and I explained her heritage. He clearly didn't understand and was clearly already inebriated, because his response was along the lines of, oh, kind of like Melania, in reference to the first lady, who is not Ukrainian or Swedish, she's Slovenian, lol. And then, trying to be funny, he asked how much it costs to get her over here. I didn't think that was very funny. I don't think that's very funny either, but others did, so I just kind of brushed it off and hoped he'd drop it. He said it in a way that was joking, but I gave him a smart-ass response back. The whole evening, he would just ask random questions, some of them actually good questions, but he kept referring to her as my Melania and would do a shitty 47 impression when he said it. You're not the asshole, this person is. I sincerely doubt whatever you're gonna say next is gonna make me change my mind. It's very clear this person is being an asshole. And I also sincerely doubt that the random questions you say that he asked were respectful in any way, and that they were actually good. I sincerely doubt that. When it hit the line, and I feel like it hit the line a long time ago, and you were just letting this go on for too long, to be completely honest. I feel like you should have just shut it down at the start. Where it hit the line was when he made a joke about her leaving me just because she wanted to be a US citizen, and then started making jokes about a particular law enforcement agency I cannot post on here showing up to our home and making fun of her accent. At that point, I could tell other people were kind of like, okay, a little too much here, and I just straight up said, will you fucking stop, and got into it a little bit, and I said some nasty stuff back to him where people several tables over could hear it. Clearly ruined the evening, and I feel bad for that, which you should not, because you were not the asshole. You were not, like, I get you probably said some mean stuff, sure, but like, you're not, I feel like you should have just shut this down at the start. Just that is when you should have shut it. Like, this was not gonna ever go down a good path. Those questions were definitely not good wherever they were. Just no. Clearly ruined the evening, and I feel bad for that, but it was disrespectful. Even though I love to lovingly pick on my wife, I also know she's really sensitive to getting made fun of, and she struggles still with some stuff, and there's been times where she's got made fun of for not knowing certain slang terms or her accent, even though it's subtle and it hurts her a lot. It doesn't really matter if like your wife, if you like lovingly picking on your wife, or if she's sensitive or not. Just this person is very clearly has like a political agenda, and it's just no. No, basically just no. So him saying some of that shit bothered me, and it would have really bothered her if she was there. I maybe could have handled it better, and I do feel like an asshole for ruining the evening. You feel like an asshole for the wrong thing. If you're gonna feel like an asshole, you should feel like an asshole for not shutting it down earlier. But I was just over it. Edit. To clarify, my friend was also really upset with me for making a scene instead of handling it privately. What the you just need better friends, man. And I definitely made the rest of the evening uncomfortable. You're not who made it uncomfortable. You're not. I had no quarrels making sure the tables around us heard what was going on, and I had no issue in the moment making it heard. Edit 2. Wanted to say thank you to all of you who have shared your thoughts. At this point, almost everyone in the group has offered an apology to me, except the guy who said all of this, and my friend who was upset. That told me everything I needed to know. I'm actually more upset about that than I am the actual comments. I told my my wife, who was away for work, about the whole thing, and she isn't upset with me, but was very bothered by some of the comments made, and it's actually kind of created a situation where we are going to sit down and talk about keeping her safe with all of the stuff going on in the US, even though she has every legal right to be here. First of all, just because you have a legal right to be there doesn't mean you're not going to get deported or like killed, to be frank, which is pretty clearly demonstrated by everything that's going on in your country. Second of all, like, you need better friends. I'm glad that like everyone in the group, or like almost everyone, offered an apology, so you know, maybe keep them. But the two people who didn't, they were massive assholes, and you did not ruin that evening. You're not who ruined it. You're not the one who started all of this. You just shut it down, and you just should have done it earlier, to be honest. But you know, you live, you learn, and hopefully if anything like this happens again, you will shut it down earlier. But yeah, those are just my thoughts, my opinions. If you have different ones, please do let me know in the comments. And yeah, I hope you like this video. I hope that the stories were dramatic enough and interesting enough. And yeah, let me know if there's anything specific you'd like to hear from me the next one. And I will see you next week. Okay, bye.